Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Araceli, aka Chelly, and today on Chelly's Mental Wealth, I'm going to be talking about certain signs and behaviors that an adult or a child may exhibit when they're dealing with anxiety or panic attacks. Because sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're not. But I've noticed some certain things that children will do, in my experience, that's a little different than what an adult would do. But then eventually those behaviors and symptoms, if they don't nip it in the butt, it gets transferred as adulthood. So let's talk about the signs. Number one. This is the first one I want to talk about, is peeing and soiling. Like, you get really, really nervous and you gotta go to the restroom, like, all the time. Like, it's just like, and then it's just like, it's like, because, you know, your brain is telling you that you're in danger, so it's just like, I gotta go take a boom boom, aka take a so yeah, I've seen that in my experience, where they're very, very terrified and they'll just go to the restroom, go to the restroom, whether it's number one or number two, like, all the time. Or another sign, number two is crying, like literally crying, like profusely, refusing to enter a certain location, place, like you're just like, woo, like just crying. And that could be an adult or an adolescent or a child. They're constantly just like crying, and they just don't know how to articulate and say, this is scary, or they don't know how to describe, or they don't know that it's anxiety driven, and they don't know what triggered that anxiety. So that's why a lot of the times it's important for us as adults to kind of like process and try to figure out, like, what's going on, why are you feeling this way, or how can I help you, things like that. Okay, restroom stuff, crying. Another sign would be is not like they're really aggressive all the time. Could also be a sign, because some people are or culturally, sometimes we teach humans to not cry or to not process certain things a certain way, or to not use a certain coping skill and X, Y, and Z. So it'll come off as aggression. They'll fight all the time because they're anxious, they're worried that they might get their butt kicked, or they're worried that they're always like on alert, or they're always on defense mode. It's sometimes that's anxiety driven. It happens a lot, because they don't feel safe for anybody, whether it's an adult or a child. They don't feel safe, so their anxiety will trigger aggression. Another one would be completely shutting down, like literally, like refusing to talk, refusing to move. It's a huge sign that they're having an anxiety attack, or anxiety or a panic attack. Panic attack is totally different signs, and I've already explained that on the other video. If you guys are interested, please watch the other video if you haven't. Another sign would be not being able to communicate, not wanting to go to certain events, crowds, because they're just dealing with so much anxiety, depending on what they've been exposed to, and if they're still kind of processing or haven't processed it yet, that it's just hard that the anxiety still continues. I realized that I didn't even talk about panic attack symptoms, so I'm gonna add it in here. The only difference that I've seen, personally, I've never seen in my experience someone else have a panic attack, but you know, I've experienced my panic attack, and the biggest difference is literally it immobilizes you and you faint. You feel like you're having a heart attack. You're sweating. You literally feel like you're gonna die. Like, it's literally mimicking a heart attack. That's the biggest difference. So I've never actually seen it happen to a child in my personal experience, or even like in my work life, but I know that happens. That's the biggest difference. Is like literally like and it comes out of nowhere. There's no trigger. It literally just comes out of nowhere. That's the biggest difference. With anxiety, there's certain situations, person, thing, location that will trigger anxiety because you know it's coming. So your body is getting ready to release that cortisol and say you're in danger. So that's the biggest difference and the biggest signs that you need to look for with panic attacks. And if you want more information, go watch my other video. My experience and how it went. Biting nails, like doing this, biting on things. Sometimes medication makes you feel more anxious. So you guys have to kind of be aware of that. Like when you observe, if you know someone that's taking medication that might trigger anxious like symptoms, sometimes the medication will make them more anxious. So you guys have to kind of, people need to pay attention to that. That sometimes that's a side effect, a negative side effect, where it'll make you more anxious. And that happens even with medication with ADHD. I've noticed that pattern in my experience, is that it'll trigger like just like biting things, and because they're nervous, or just like it's their way of coping, so they're just like biting on things. And so that's why it's important that we don't tell them to stop. And it's hard sometimes because we don't understand it, but it's very anxiety driven. So it's important that we don't shame their coping skill, replace it. If you don't like them doing that, help them replace something else. Like, oh, you know, I understand you feel a little anxious, and you're using that because you feel nervous. How about you try to do this, see if this works too, the same way. And that's the way where you can support someone if you want to remove the biting. And they may never stop, and they like that. You just kind of have to, like, there's their coping skill. Maybe you can replace something else that they can bite instead of biting on clothes, you know, because it will be a health hazard. Like explaining, like educating, like, okay, this is why I'm a little worried that you're doing this. Why don't we replace it? Like, I get it, like you like biting on things, all right, you know, like why don't we bite something else? Like let's try this. It may work, it may not, but it's still worth a try. But make sure you support the child or adult, because if you start to shame, they're not going to be inclined, because they already feel anxious, and especially if they feel that they're being judged all the time. It's a huge thing. Anxiety, it's constantly like these intrusive thoughts. You're constantly thinking people are talking about you behind your back, or doing this, like this plan behind your back, or they're talking, or they're saying mean things about you, or you're constantly thinking they don't like me. No, they do. And it's just kind of like, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of feeling like people don't accept them and that they're judging them. So that's why it's important that we don't judge when someone is dealing with anxiety symptoms and behaviors, whether it's an adult or a child, because it's going to be harder for them to even open up, because they already feel like they're being judged. You gotta understand, like, they already know that it's not really like normal to society to bite your fingernails or to bite this, that they already feel bad as it is, that they see other people like, why is it that they're not doing what I'm doing? You don't think that that's happening? It happens a lot. Like when we are dealing with some type of mental, like that has to do with mental symptoms and behaviors, when it's driven by that, we start to compare a lot. And it's important that we don't, you know, because everybody has a different journey. Everybody copes in different ways, and everybody chooses to try different interventions in different parts and times in their lives. So it's all trial and error. So hopefully this video is useful with, you know, signs that parents can keep an eye out on things. And like one of the main thing, of course, is just like the running and the crying, worrying, asking questions all the time, like, when are they gonna come? When are they gonna come? What's going on? And that's another thing. Like, I know that I'm kind of bouncing around because as I'm doing this video, it's like everything kind of comes through my head, because every person is different. There's just so many, because everybody's different. They internalize anxiety completely different depending on what they went through in their lives, their ancestors, their environment, and even just culturally. A lot of Latinos, what I've noticed is that it really just depends on what neighborhood you live in. You know, they can be Mexican, Salvadorian, and they can come from Jalisco, in Pueblo, everything. It doesn't matter. We all deal with trauma differently. We all do. And it doesn't matter. I think it really just depends on the city and the resources that they're able to obtain. I've noticed that every city has a different culture, like literally. And it doesn't matter what race it is. Like every city has its own culture. And I'm speaking from experience because I'm traveling all over LA County. And what I observe, I see these things. I've always been an observant. I always ask questions. So they're all different. And I have to figure out ways to help people to the best of my abilities and my experience, and taking into consideration that everybody goes to different things in different ways, and everybody copes with things in different ways, and we need to stop judging and go with the flow. Because as much as Latinos get discriminated, we need to remember that even Caucasian people get discriminated in the mental health field. They do, you know, and they're trying their best to help, even though they didn't go through the same cultural experiences as some minorities. They're trying. Maybe we can teach, you know, other ethnicities and races so that they can help us. Like, why not? You know, the more the merrier. And let's work as a team. It's just my opinion. I mean, I wish it was like that, but to each their own. But I think that, like, I've heard stories where they don't want to work with someone who is Caucasian, and then eventually they change their mind because of the experience, a positive experience, and it is possible to come together and understand each other's cultures and backgrounds, and realize that we've all gone through some type of trauma. Some traumas are worse, way worse than others, but by understanding each other, we can come together more, and we can help each other together as a team and educate each other so that we don't feel misunderstood. That's just the way I think. But I hope that this video it's valuable with all the information, like I said. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. If you're new to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe. If you like this video, please don't forget to poke it. Please share this video, and I think it would be really useful for teachers, professionals to know that this is occurring. I tend to see a lot more than the average person because I'm exposed to different types of locations and cities, and I'm kind of accumulating data in my head because I'm so observant, and I'm just like, I'm seeing a lot of things that need to be addressed. And hopefully by communicating this will help other people be more aware of just signs and just things that we can really help as a community in general. So I will talk to you guys in my next video, and have a nice day. Bye.